You know for a fact Johnny had that written down from week 1, day 1 of the Overwatch League. Seeing the list of people that are going to be casting together, you know for a fact he's been waiting to slip that one in there. Just saying. That's fine. That was your pass.
Hey.
We actually talked about that before we started casting, actually, when we found out we were casting together. It was like, it's going to happen. One day they're going to make Jack and Rose.
All of the pieces coming together, mathematical equations. Yeah, people are starting to figure that out. It's cool, though, because I think it's also appropriate looking at the match that we have ahead of us, Jack.
Who's the sinking ship?
Yeah, so
who's the sinking ship?
Exactly.
I'll put you on the spot. Who's the sinking ship right now? Mayhem or Shock? Ship?
Shock.
Shock of the sinking ship.
Maybe.
Okay, Pred's locked in. Rose is going against the San Francisco Shock. All bets are now on. Rose, you know what? That's fine. Maybe they are the sinking ship. I'm not sure. Look, they did reverse sweep the Washington Justice. And they, like Scott said, they didn't look flawless, right? There are some weaknesses there.
See, that's my point, right? And I think that Florida Mayhem is one of those teams that's kind of on the up and up. And for San Francisco, there's not really a whole... where else do they go, right? They're literally undefeated. Like, it kind of only goes down from here, I feel like, unless they're able to keep that up throughout the season. But we got to talk about the Mayhem, because this is the roster of players that have just been consistently improving and getting better, Jaws. Yeah,
they really have. The mid-season-ish edition of XC has been looking great on the Sojourn. Someone has been very impressive. Like, people were hyping up for a long time, and now Mayhem are doing very well. They took down the London Spitfire in a 3-1 series at the very start of the Summer Showdown qualifiers. And Checkmate is one of his best heroes in the Genji. Like, it's looked good for the Mayhem.
Yeah, like, this is their meta. And that's exactly, you know, someone's play style ends up fitting really well with the Junker Queen. And I think that also when you get to go back to basics a little bit in terms of Overwatch with the fundamentals of staying as a team and also target focus and target priority, I think that's also where RuPaul and Animo can really shine. You know, Animo is going to be taking the helm as that veteran player in the support lineup, but you still have RuPaul and Sir Majed that are really going to help, I think, get into sync with the rest of the team. So this is the perfect meta for Florida to become cohesive.
Yeah, let's have a look at their opponents for today. Is the San Francisco Shock, still undefeated. 13-0, could go 14-0 today. The regular season has been just a blast for them, it feels like. They're just skipping through a meadow full of winds, you know? Like, at the end of the day, they are still the San Francisco Shock. You cannot count them out. And to be honest with you, you can't count out the organization either, because no matter who's on the roster, they always seem to do well.
It's true.
It's a bit insane that you go from like a different year and almost a completely different lineup to still like the same levels of success you'd expect from the San Francisco Shock.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's quite nutty, honestly. Let's talk about Kaluja real quick, because Kaluja had a little bit of a slower start in the Summer Showdown.
Yeah, he hasn't. So this is why I know my opinion is unpopular, okay? I was also put on this spot, but I do think that Kaluj, it just doesn't seem like he melts well right now with the Junker Queen. Like, it's just not, something's not quite clicking completely. And there's moments of brilliance because Kaluj is such a strong tank player. And I think everybody was blown away with how well the Shock did in the first stage, especially being a way new roster to get put together last minute. But yes, there's something about the Junker Queen meta that really isn't quite clicking. And I think it has to do with the play style, as it's just, you know, can San Francisco really go aggressive enough with it?
Man, it would be quite a historic day, honestly, if the Mayhem managed to disrupt the win streak, the regular season win streak of the Shock, and the Titans also catch their dub. Like, history in the making today.
Maybe.
Feels like in these first two maps here on this beautiful Sunday. Ilios, our first map in the series. We've got Midtown, Junkertown, New Queen Street, and then rounding out on Busan, we need to go to map number 5. It feels like it's going to be a close one. I can imagine a lot of the predictions, at least in the community, might be a little bit more swayed towards the Mayhem, more so than the Shock, just on recent performances at least. Of course, the Desk and the Pick'ems, they did end up going with Shock, but I think opinion is, you know, pushed a bit towards the Mayhem.
Maybe.
They're currying favor.
There's definitely one point that I think we need to talk about, and that's going to be the Xe versus Kilo game, right?
Yeah.
I think that's going to be something that people need to keep their eyes on. Xe was considered one of the top Sojourns in the West, in that top 5 leaderboard for a while, and then Kilo as well, I think definitely can do some heavy lifting for the team, but it has been a bit more of like the flashy proper show. But is that flash and is that razzle dazzle really going to win you a team fight when a lot of teams have noted that this meta heavily revolves around you playing together as a team, and sometimes I feel as though Proper does go off and play a little bit on his own, a little bit too often, just because it's something that he's been really good at before.
Ooh, that was a good knife pull actually from someone. Pulled Kaluj right in. Kilo's doing a fair bit of damage, mind you, on the sidelines, and having this off angle, sending disruptor shots in to the masses. It's fairly devastating for the front line of Florida. He's eventually going to spot it out, but not before the rest of the Shock do win the team fight. Florida Mayhem pushed all the way back. They are playing the Ashe on this map, Rose, versus Kilo's Sojourn. It's going to be a little bit more difficult to set up Ashe than it is a Sojourn.
Agreed.
It's strange. People have been speaking about it for the last, like, I'm not going to say week, maybe week, but the last few days at least, this Ashe versus Sojourn kind of conversation. And on the longer range maps, it feels like Ashe is just a little bit better with the consistent damage of Dynamite.
Correct.
Because you have to aim down sights and you have to set yourself up, it can be difficult in these smaller ranged maps.
Yeah, it just takes a little bit longer to get yourself in a position to use it, that's for sure.
Well, someone going pretty low. There's a disruptor shot, slowing someone down. It's not the biggest slow in the world, but it's still a sizable impact if you do get it on a couple of people. The ticking damage is quite intense too if you do stay in it, so it forces you to move at least. And now the San Francisco Shock with another fight win, up to 50% and a blade coming up.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I mean, look at how fast Shock are outpacing Mayhem towards those ultimates. Especially when Proper can go in and just use the blade with no hesitation. No response.
Yeah, you called that one perfectly, I think. It's done. Oh, in the spawn door. Oh, see you, Animo. Oh, hello.
Huh?
They know the Genji's there.
Oh.
Oh, he hit Checkmate's head, actually. He's good, though. He's good. Yeah, Animo, Rupal, no support whatsoever, so very cheap fight for the Shock.
Yeah, they are starting to come up to them, though, and then Finn and Violet as well can match that, but yeah, what... Oh, they forgot? Oh no, Checkmate's isolated now.
That's kind of nice, though, from Checkmate. Forces the Shock off that high ground. So now they're forced to fight on the Florida Mayhem's level. Kilo spotted on the side, but look at that. Who's the rescue? It's Violet. Bit of reflect damage. Someone save Private Kilo. Actually, he doesn't need saving. Easy 1v1 win. Rally and beat from the Florida Mayhem as they do push on forward. Violet looked like he was going to dive into the well there to give Florida Mayhem a kill, but no, not today. The San Francisco Shock off to a good start. 100-0 and well.
Yeah, really clean. I mean, Florida just didn't get a chance to set up, and that's something that Florida feels like they need. You know, when they played against the London Spitfire, I felt like a lot of the reason why they were able to win that match was because they ended up setting the tempo of these fights. But because Shock capped first, it's way harder to do that as the attacking team on a control map. If Florida Mayhem are able to take control of the point, I think they will set themselves up way better, knowing that they're also playing the Ashe, and we just talked about how much more setup that does require versus something like the Sojourn.
3, 2, 1.
Ruin's a little bit better map for it, though, to be fair.
True.
So we'll see if XD can diff Kilo here. Now, the only problem is, last round, they were able to, Shock were able to get that blade up so quickly that the Florida Mayhem were just, the tempo was just completely out of whack. Like their support ultimates, they both came online at the same time. The
right.
before Shock had like 80%. Then the Florida Mayhem had to use it. Checkmate did pull him back quite smartly enough, but it was really too much impact at the end of the day. Went for the 1v1 on Kilo. Like didn't really have a firm grasp of the match, but that could all change. Point has been unlocked as the San Francisco Shock look to cap, but Florida are here. They're still fighting the 1v1. Proper pretty low as he dashes to the back line of the Florida Mayhem. But Kaluj, the first person to go down for the San Francisco Shock. They do end up trading for Rupal, but as long as they keep XD alive, they might be good. Violet with a double kill. No one's count the point just yet, but with someone alive and well on the point, Should be pretty easy. And there you go. Mayhem are on the board.
Yeah, and Mayhem capturing first is huge for the Ashe setup. And I think also, you know, as you talked about, the ultimates got a little off kilter. This provides a little bit more to Florida as well to kind of catch back up when they need to. And so, you know, Animo's already so close to that sound barrier, and Checkmate as well. Probably getting the blade online before Violet gets the sound barrier.
It is pretty close. Only 20% to go. Well, maybe Violet gets the sound barrier now. He's still killing people. He's still doing Violet things, even on the Lucio. Him and Proper have just been a tag team in the back. Can they find much else? I mean, Proper has to back off. He's only got the Lucio healing. Oh, Kilo comes back, kills Checkmate. Man, this is scrappy, to put it in a single word.
Yeah. And look at that, too.
pretty low.
The commanding shout. Oh my gosh, sound barrier.
They use the beat. They use the beat, okay. The Shock are gonna respond in kind with a beat of their own. And now they do end up finding the flip. An early beat from Animo there to save someone and save more capture percentage. Like, okay, I respect it, but the rest of Florida Mayhem couldn't get back to the point in time because they had no speed.
Yeah, I wouldn't call that the best play to make with the sound barrier. I know you've got the rally coming up, and you also have a way more ultimates to kind of pair with that, but it would have been nice to have that overhealth available, knowing that San Francisco also have their DPS ultimates online, and the rally itself alone may not be enough.
Oh, Blade in the spawn. Of course, why not? Checkmate again. He's playing Splinter Cell in the back line. Wait, what? Animo's there too? Okay, they both capture the point, which is awesome. You stop a little percentage, I suppose, but Shock. Use Rally, use Blade, hold them in spawn, even Kilo spawn camping people still.
Yeah, you can see the axe thrown right past his head. Florida, though, they've got to get in and use these ults. They were able to get quite a few out of the Shock, so this should be a team fight in their favor as long as they're able to rotate through them. Would love to see the Rampage and the Blade and even the Bob just to kind of pressure out the Shock to move them somewhere else.
Oh, there's the rally to try and counter the old Rampage. Now they're going to need something a little bit more. Axe swing. Oh, nice dodge by Finn. Pity he's already dead.
It's a nice attempt. Yeah, but there will be follow-up and cleanup by the Mayhem. Okay, Xe. There's quite a few final blows for him there. You're going to build up to that Bob relatively quickly. 25% already on the board for him. And Checkmate held on to the Blade. Especially after getting the rally out of Finn, I feel like Mayhem are in a really nice spot entering into last fight territory. If Checkmate doesn't get, you know, picked. Ooh, that was close.
Or someone, to be fair. He's pretty low too. Proper. Dead. Xe traded. Blade pull. Checkmate pretty low. He's anti. He's got 1 HP. Violet chases him up. 92% of the ball for the Mayhem. The Shock need to touch. Can they get there in time? Violet is the one to do so, but he's left Kalush and Finn all alone on this island. This mega health pack. Luckily, the reinforcements are coming back just in time for the Shock. And oh, RuPaul didn't see that one coming. And now a 2v1. The Junker Queen still pretty strong though. Knife Finn through the shield. But Kilo finishes off Xe. Proper's going to do the rest of the work. Violet, again, coming up rather large on the Lucio.
This is a great look for Violet. I think allowing him to play the Lucio as well, he gets to be so aggressive. And because he's such a sharpshooter too, that translates over really nicely to being able to just kind of get in somebody's face and just, you know, throw some shots at it. But the sound barrier online, Proper's got a Blade. Last fight here. San Francisco Shock looking to close out this round in the map.
Okay, Checkmate with a deflect. Blade pulled in the back line. The Florida Mayhem trying to run. That was close. OT almost bled over, but RuPaul is dead. Xe next on the menu for Proper. 13 HP. Doesn't quite find the dash kill. And in fact, Xe just punched him square in the jaw. The Mayhem are losing the point. Losing the fight on the point, however, as Finn with a whip shot and a rally to end it off. And the San Francisco Shock looking like the same they did in the last couple of metas. Starting off strong with a 2-0.
Really good stuff, and I think that a lot of the pain points that we identified in their match versus the Washington Justice really have started to work themselves out. I mean, maybe, you know, it is early. We still got one map in, and Florida still gave us some really bright moments, being able to capture first on Ruins and then riding that momentum to take it to 99 to 100. But it's, yeah, I can't wait to see what else happens next. Can Shock do it?
I mean, look, the Shock, this is the biggest confidence booster you could ask for this team. They won on control.
True.
The scores ain't lying. Florida Mayhem, still chance to come back. We're going to jump to a break. Don't go anywhere. We'll see you in a bit.
Lightning doesn't strike twice, has never met the San Francisco Shock.
Just the depth of talent on their roster that can't be denied.
Some of the most hardcore carry performances that I've ever seen.
This is going to be a wild ride.
Somehow Vital's going to come to the rescue, get a double kill.
Kalu says, how about that one, Chief? See you later.
Dude, his aim is so crispy.
Man, does it miss those? Holy cow!
Sam straights the backline, insta-killing.
Oh, Mikey! San Francisco, the greatest team in Overwatch.
Welcome back. The Shock 1-0 up in this game. The Florida Mayhem still looking to dethrone the Shock's perfect record. 13-0 sit the Shock currently. The Florida Mayhem, it was kind of a mixed bag there, I think, on Control. The second round looked a little bit better on Ruins, but the first round not so much. The Shock just kind of walked all over them. Surma Shed is in for Animo as we head to Midtown.
We noticed this as a pattern in their first match as well versus the London Spitfire, is that Florida have a tendency to play Animo on these control and push maps, and Surmajed gets to play the escort and the hybrid. And a lot of that has to do with the difference in Lucio playstyle that we see between these two players. And, you know, Animo very good with staying tight with the team, and I think that Surmajed has the ability to just kind of go on these solo missions, but also Surmajed allows for a lot of flexibility when it comes to playing around with some changes in that support lineup, because we did end up actually seeing like the Ana and the Zenyatta with the Junker Queen on Hollywood in that match. It ended up going the way of the London Spitfire, but it still is nice to know that you have the ability to kind of switch things up if you want to try something different.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting to speculate on what you want to do on defense on certain maps. And am I going to hold my breath? No, I'm not. Wow.
Yeah.
Okie dokie.
Nope.
So we have the Zen and Ana again on the defense. See, I quite like this because you can sit super far away as the Ana and the Zen and poke at the front line of the Shock. Plus the anti-nade is pretty crazy. And look, at the end of the day, if you discord the Junker Queen, she hasn't got that many defensive tools. Like, she can hit people with the to get the Adrenaline Shot passive to heal herself. She can Commanding Shout to stop a lot of that damage. But if you're just consistently applying damage and pressure through nade and discord, it might be hard for Junker Queen to do much. But we'll have to wait and see how it ends up panning out, because you could just get run at. Like, that's what the comp is very good at with the Lucio Brick, just running at people.
Right, and I think that's why the Ana and the Zenyatta are very high risk, high reward. They're pretty squishy. And if RuPaul isn't going to be hitting the sleep darts at the Genji, like proper, that may be going after you, yeah, might be screwed.
Nice anti on proper. He has to wait for that dash to make a move and rejoin the rest of his team. Kilo is also pretty low, gets taken out by Surma Shed. Finn is also going to fall. Oh, the nade from Rapul was like, what, a frame or two too late there? That was unfortunate, but good defense so far. Okay.
Yeah, I think Florida Mayhem can hold on to this one, and while you may be lacking Surmajed, he will be coming back and can play more towards the back, so kind of makes up for it. And then also, if Checkmate's gonna take out Violet, yeah, you take those.
You do trade. Violet will be back a lot quicker, so San Francisco Shock, knowing this, they can play up. Vexy is your main source of damage in this composition, if you're the Florida Mayhem, along with the Zen and with the Discord. Nice game sense. That was a massive brain by proper there. He heard the dynamite. When the dynamite gets thrown, it makes that like click sound. So that was, yeah, mad game sense there from proper to get back to the rest of his team in time. But he was on fire, but it was still nice to see. Let's see what Checkmate can do. He is back from the dead. Kilo's the main focus once more and is hidden behind the fire truck. His healers couldn't see him. Nano boost available for RuPaul as the Shock try and make incision on this point. Nano onto the Queen. What more do you really want? Someone just slashing with the axe. It does so much damage and so much healing.
I think that's one of the reasons I like the Ana, is that you can see how that Nano is actually going to help someone keep pace with Kaluj. I mean, Kaluj has just been doing a ton of damage with the Junker Queen, and yeah, that Nano not only gives you survivability because it mitigates some of that damage, but also, absolutely, it helps keep you up and running for that Adrenaline Rush passive to do its job.
All right, this is something you're going to have to chew through. Bob comes out to counteract that rally. It's in a really good spot. Everybody's going to have to cower behind this like lamppost or whatever it is. Proper has the blade. He's still chunking people out, but the Bob is doing a lot of damage. He jumps over the Rampage, but still gets hit by it. 5-man anti onto the San Francisco Shock. It's up to the Mayhem to follow this one up. The anti does fade, as so does Surmajed's life. There's 2 ticks on the point for the San Francisco Shock, but another massive bio, this time from RuPaul. The blade from Checkmate has been pulled, and they're going to be able to hold on to this point.
And that means that San Francisco will have a minute remaining. This is huge. Florida Mayhem may be on the brink of a full hold here, especially when you look at Surmajed has the Transcendence. That's a great response to Proper's Dragon Blade, and of course the commanding shout from someone could really help just make sure that Florida Mayhem can survive through this. And look at how much damage Kalush is taking on the income.
Overclock. Oh, Exy dead. 1 Transcendence to rule them all. Florida Mayhem have already lost 2. Unfortunately, you can't heal past these headshots, so that's the only problem. So that 33% easily taken.
Well, that's why we didn't see the Transcendence get popped, right? It would have been such a waste if Surmajed had used that ultimate against something like the Overclock. Like, yeah, Kilo's gonna outdamage that every day of the week. Unfortunately, too, this means that San Francisco may be getting some big staggers here. Luckily, someone is able to get away with their life, but they bullied away the Mayhem enough that Shock gets to take this high ground now.
I was just thinking, the Bionade with the Junker Queen passive is a little bit ridiculous.
Yep.
You get increased healing, right? So when you hit the adrenaline rush and you have the nade on you, you don't need to be looked at all by your healers, basically. I think it's definitely worth keeping in mind. Oh, Surmajet jumps down into the gulag. That's a nice little cleanup from the Florida Mayhem. But yeah, it's kind of nuts. I don't know why I only just thought of that, but yeah, the adrenaline rush, if you hit multiple people with the axe or hit multiple people with the knife drawback, like, yeah, pretty crazy.
I know that Brigitte and Lucio are the standard right now, and that's why seeing something like the Ana and then Zenyatta is so unique. But as this meta starts to develop, I'm fully expecting that more teams will want to kind of experiment here with what support line can really help you in a given situation. And I think the Zenyatta and the Ana right now are perfect with what their cooldowns provide in terms of utility for dealing with a team like the Shock.
Oh, RuPaul in trouble. Wants to apply the nano. There it is. He does get it off. Axe swing straight in the face of Kalush. That damage is insane. Axe swing, shot, and then melee. Almost insta-killing Kalush. Jesus. 1 minute and 15 seconds to go. The San Francisco Shock is still trying to find people in this fight to stagger people out. Kilo and Proper killing Surmajet and Exy. Okay, Proper's eventually cleaned up. Of course, Violet's still alive, trying to hunt for blood.
Yeah, those staggers almost worked with the fact that Checkmate was able to just, you know, take out the remaining forces of the Shock. We're back to square 0 here.
I think we may have lost Rose. We may have lost Rose. That's okay. That's
no,
all right.
I missed the button. I missed the button, so you couldn't hear me, but I think the broadcast could. I'm sorry about that. Anyway,
that's fine.
I was just saying that we're back to square 0 here. The staggers didn't really work out for the Shock, and now, yeah, 30 seconds left, Jack. That's it.
That's it. There's the blades. Proper gets beat. He's got 1,000 HP. But Dream, not so much. That anti-nade on top of Exy. Perfect sleep dart onto Proper. They're still losing members of the Florida Mayhem. They've only got both supports. The Shock are going to be able to push. Are Mayhem going to be able to touch? They have Rampage. Maybe you get there in time.
Oh,
a couple of meters. Doesn't look like, yeah, no speed boost as you have no Lucio, so no hope to defend that second point. But still in OT, you're happy with that if you're the Florida Mayhem. This point notoriously hard to capture.
You would have definitely liked it if maybe someone could have charged in with a Rampage and made it there on time, but it's very smart that he held on to it, because I don't think that would have worked knowing that there was that barricade in the way. But yeah, this is great. Exy got a pick, and now you really get to kind of dig your heels into the sand if you're the Mayhem to just keep this up. Checkmate, though, is a little bit of an aerial duel.
Kilo with the overclock, who they hunted for. Surmajet, who's out of position, unfortunately. Well, it's a bit tough to be in position when you've got an overclock staring at you. Nano, Rampage, right to the back line. Kilo didn't stand a chance. Axe swing going a little wide, but the Shock still struggling to get it under this bridge. I mean, you've seen the spawn holds, but playing up is what this comp does at best. Rally for the shock, speed forward, but Proper's already dead. Violet is still trying to help secure kills in the back. He manages to pick up Exi. RuPaul also falls to Finn. It's the shock backline doing most of the damage for the team currently. But with 20 seconds to go, they aren't 5 members, so they have to back up again.
This is rough. I mean, San Francisco Shock have really been taken down to the wire every single point. And now they don't really have a whole lot. They're banking on Finn getting something done with this Ana.
Summer Showdown and RuPaul can sit super far in the back line. Oh, Kilo's in trouble. So, someone tried to go for a flank and it ended up working out. Proper to the back. No more DPS for the Shock. Bob rolls out and finishes up the rest. The Florida Mayhem taking Shock to almost 3 different overtimes there and stop the payload on that final corner.
Yeah, super impressive. Every time they've really been able to whittle all of that time off the clock where San Francisco Shock have to do what Shock do best, and that's just clutch. And so they have been able to do that up till maybe halfway through this 3rd point, but it becomes a whole different ballgame when you switch sides as well, knowing how Exi has been able to open up some of these fights with the Sojourn and has been, you know, really hitting the marks on some of these. Kilo died like 7 times. Exi died 4. I know part of that is just how much the team as a whole was really dealing with the shock, but Exi definitely out-damaged Kilo there.
Well, it was the first series we were talking about the DPS differential, right? I mean, the Ashe and the Sojourn, or just like double Sojourn, double Ashe going against each other. You really need your Sojourn and Ashe or Ashe, I suppose, to pop off. It's the main source of your damage, or like consistent damage at least. Oh, look at him go. Oh. Look at him go do his job. Oh, it was just in the corner. He was like, please don't see me.
Checkmate just there, maybe. Yeah, thank you. And then also just there, just in case he needs to deflect damage away from Bob. Protect the Bob. Bob is president
Protect
now.
the Bob. True. Oh, no. Summer Jet. Oh, PP. Quick pause.
There you go.
Yeah, but yeah, what was my point? The Ashe and the Sojourns, yeah, you really need them to just consistently provide damage to the front line in order to set up your Genji, in order to set up your tanks, because the Genji's only maximum effectiveness when you can dive in, get a reset, and then dive out again, or dive in, get a reset, and then maybe go on to someone else. If you end up going into the Genji and you don't find a kill, especially because you need to, more often than not, utilize the dash to get to the backline, it's very tough for you to do anything. And in the Junker Queen meta with the commanding shout, supports very, very chunky. Like their health bar, pretty large with the commanding shout, right? Plus the speed boost that it provides too. So you do really need your hit scan player to be on point. Well, and we're heading back into game. The pause isn't long. There you go. Countdown is there and it's gone. So, oh, hello.
Action time.
Surprise! Straight out of a pause into a fight. Maybe Finn wasn't expecting to be out of the pause so quickly. Exit gets cleaned, and the Florida Mayhem still with a person advantage. I mean, you take that trade. Your hit scan dying is kind of bad, but if you kill the enemy brig, yeah, good luck, defensive team. The Shock tried for something cheeky. Mayhem sniffed it out.
That's what I wanted to follow up your point with, is that, yeah, the DPS are very important, but you also see a lot of teams focusing down that Brigitte first. And if you don't have that Inspire healing, and you also don't have the ability to quickly, you know, provide those armor packs over to your Genjis, things can go south pretty quickly.
There's the commanding shout from the San Francisco Shock. Should note that both RuPaul and So Much Ed are on the Lucio and the Brig right now. Violet, who's going quite aggressive over the last round, ends up falling, but it's the DPS from the Shock that are really the ones that are cleaning up right now. Proper, in fact, with, what was that, like 3 or 4 kills in that last fight? Not bad.
Yeah, it was a lot. I mean, Proper right now is sitting at like 20 eliminations and 11 final blows. Definitely doing a ton of work and keeping up with Checkmate, despite the fact that Shock has lost most of the fights that have happened in this map so far. But here we go again. Mayhem still have 2.5 minutes on the clock.
Yeah, not only is Proper's aim, like, exceptional, of course, but his positioning is just fantastic. Wow, actually just gets spammed out. in that small corner. A few shurikens, a few little donuts from the Lucio. That'll be that. I mean, it's pretty good that Mayhem have got 2 ticks, to be fair. So they only need half a fight to take that last one.
Yeah, and they don't even need a whole team wipe. They really just need to be able to push Shock off the point, and there's plenty of tools to do that. Maybe it's the Dynamite to make sure that you could just whittle them down.
Early bait from Proper. He's been polishing it, ready for this moment. Oh no. Blunt is the blade on the shield. This Checkmate's a little bit more shiny. Nice triple kill for Checkmate. And the San Francisco Shock lose that 33% and the point.
Team wipe is still a great way to secure a point, though. let's be honest. Mayhem, though, had to use a ton there. The double support ults. Now they have the Rampage, but Xe isn't quite close enough to the Bob yet, and that's going to set him back even further.
I love just the random kills from the Sojourn. So up. Sojourn moment.
Yep.
Randomly headshot across the map with a railgun.
Yeah, looking to do it again, too. I mean, Kilo still, you can see how difficult it can be for the Sojourn to charge up those railgun shots. Like, look at that, 43% after emptying out almost a full clip there. It's a tough go of things for the Sojourn, and the fact that you can still pop off when you actually have charged that up is very impressive.
Yeah. Oh, who's this? What? Where's Summer Showdown there? Well, trying to get forward positioning, I suppose. I mean, taxiing around, but of course Proper's going to be there to gatekeep. All right, all the way to the spawn. Yeah, it's fairly interesting to kind of discuss the railgun charge, I suppose. If you want to get super nuanced, there is a spawn cap happening. I guess we'll talk about this first. What, even a rally? Okay,
oh, jeez. That's just overkill.
That's very over-eager by Finn, rallying in the spawn. I mean, you have Overwatch for a little bit, but Mayhem couldn't sit there and they're little...
Yeah, they're just going to wait for that to expire.
They do be chilling, though. Oh, Proper in trouble. No, he's got the dash away. Massive dynamite from Xe. That should give him the bob. Yep, there it is. Do they use it to force their way out of spawn? The San Francisco Shock will be more than happy with that. Rampage is set up. There's the beat. There's the bob. And someone ends up going down. The bob, yeah, he's doing some work, or he was, but the Shock back all the way up.
They have to. Yeah, they definitely have to. Like, you don't want to take too much damage, and also the tools that Mayhem have available to make Shock a bit more squishy and bobbable. You know, the dynamite, just even the shuriken damage from the Genji, and the knives that someone will be throwing. Yeah, you can definitely get cleaned up, and Shock just want to take this defensive positioning on the high ground.
Ooh. You gotta run! You gotta run! Just a little body shot there on Summer Shed.
Can't hide.
Don't want to mess with that. Although you do still have the 100 charge. You still need to keep tagging people, though, I will say. It's worth keeping in mind. The 100 charge does disappear if you don't end up tagging somebody. Yeah. Oh, look at Proper and Violet right now. Again, they did this on Ruins, this exact same thing, where they just kind of chill out together. Little holding hands on the high ground, and then they try and go in as soon as Florida Mayhem make a push. Good dynamite, stops Proper going instantly to the back line. Now Finn in a whole lot of trouble. Xe does die, but same situation on point A before. Finn dead, Xe falls. You're more than happy if you're the Mayhem with that one. You haven't got a lot of healing for your Genji and the rest of your team with only that Lucio. Both Checkmate and Proper ascend to the heavens, but which one will end up going back to spawn? Doesn't look like Proper wants to do so. Although the Florida Mayhem just rolling around like a little goon squad. They do split the Shock up, and with Violet going down, the Florida Mayhem can take advantage of this. They can push Shock all the way off the high ground and gain control and set Xe up for success now.
This is not the first time that we've seen Florida Mayhem just go in and isolate a member of the Shock. That's where some of that miscommunication has happened, and why the Shock are not flawless. They do sometimes just not go together as a team to get out of the way of the Mayhem, and that does leave players like, you know, we just saw Finn even a fight ago get stuck in a corner against the Florida Mayhem, and ultimately that led to a team fight win.
you can't
But
go
that's
down
bad.
there. Blade in the corner. The commanding shout is enough to help them survive for just a moment. Bob comes through, but a 5-man anti from someone. The Rampage pit every single member of the Shock. Kilo bleeds to death, but Proper's still alive and doing proper things. But he hasn't got a team ready to back him up. The rally gets used from the San Francisco Shock as Finn now leading the charge against the Florida Mayhem. Blade is pulled pretty late, and this is going to have to seal the deal. The Florida Mayhem in OT putting themselves on the point, but it's not enough as Kalush comes back from the dead. Someone on the ball tries to make something stick, but it ain't going to look like it's going to happen. OT ticks down, and the San Francisco Shock now on match point.
Really good, close attempt there from the Mayhem, and they were able to work through a lot of those difficult points that Shock had under their control. But I kind of would have loved to see the Ana and the Zenyatta again from the Mayhem on the attack as well. It looked like they were really working for them on the defense.
Yeah, in the mirror, it didn't work out at all. They had a couple of close scraps with the Shock, sending them to OT a couple of times before they ended up halting them just before that last corner on the third. But at the end of it all, the score does tell it all. The San Francisco Shock, they're up 2-0. Maybe a clean sweep, sending them at 14-0 on August 14th. We're going to have to wait and see after this break. The shock. There's still a shock, funnily enough. They're almost 14 to 9. Yes, I thought this would be a little bit of a closer game, to be honest. Well, it was pretty close, I will say. On the defense of the Mayhem, holding the shock just before that third point. Double OT for the shock. They did make a work for it. And they got that Ana and Zen. And I like your point, Rose. I really do enjoy that on the defense. I think your ability to play so far back with the Ana and the Zenyatta, forcing the shock to use multiple abilities to try and get on top of you, plus the utility of the Discord and the nade. Although with the Brig and the Lucio comp, I think it's one of those, I think it's a comparison that could be talked about a little bit. It takes a lot more doing to make the Ana and the Zen comp work. It's a little bit easier, I'd say, to make the Brig and the Lucio comp work. And that's what normally happens with metas and how they evolve and develop is you want to find the thing that has the highest success rate, that's the easiest to execute. And I do think the Ana and the Zen does have some place, especially on super long range like defensive maps, maybe like this one, to be fair, as we head on to Junkertown. But yeah, maybe there's something to that backline. Maybe the thread will eventually get pulled on enough to unravel the jumper.
Yeah, and that's why we're not seeing any subs. And on either team, RuPaul and Sir Majette are still going to round out the backline there of the Florida Mayhem. And I definitely potentially see in my crystal ball of prophecies today that we may end up getting some more flexibility there from that support lineup. There
you go. Yeah, cool. All right, yeah. I'm excited to see it in action. Even X switching over to the Widowmaker.
Wow.
I think Junkertown is just one of those maps, though, where you just can play on the defense. You can play the snipers or whatever. Like
totally.
Almost, I would say, like almost regardless of the meta. Not all metas you can play this kind of
stuff. So we'll see how long Xe stays on the Widowmaker, I guess.
Yeah, especially for second point, third point. Don't really want to be on Widowmaker. You want to be on the old Sojourn or the old Ashe. So we'll see if they can be effective, though. Shock probably going to run with the same thing, I can imagine.
I think so.
But who knows?
I'm not expecting a Bastion, at least, if that's what you were looking for.
yeah, that is very true. I mean, I'm all for our Omic Overlord in Bastion, to be fair. Would never say no.
No? Nah, I would say no here, maybe. It would be cool. Like, I definitely remember the days of, like, you know, protect the pirate ship here. Which is great, because you got so much loot on that payload. Wow. But yeah, Xe
and you got the pirate ship skin. Don't forget the pirate ship.
That's true.
From last year.
Very true. You get Junker Queen as well now to be able to help bolster that. But Xe on the Widowmaker here, this is kind of make or break on this point. Is Xe going to find the value? Florida Mayhem have to give up so much space here, but it is paying off right now.
Nice. Yeah, with the Sojourn, just thinking about it, like, you brought up a perfect point earlier, like the ability to charge the Sojourn shots. It's even tougher on long-range maps. You're really hoping for someone to be super close quarters, just like this, in order to charge the shot. So Xe's going to have a little bit more of an advantage, not only with the range, but the consistency in the damage.
Ooh, wow, even forcing Kilo to go Widowmaker here.
Okay, yes.
Ooh,
okay,
spicy.
Nice. You love to see it. Xe and Kilo is some of the most cracked aim in the Overwatch League. Nice grapple, body shot onto RuPaul. I was getting ready for it. I was about to go crazy.
Me too. That would have been so sick. Don't do the deflect though.
Ooh. Oh, Violet's dead to a body shot. Unfortunate. Kilo can see everybody at this moment, but unfortunately Checkmate is right in his face, distracting him.
Oh, Xe does too.
Oh!
Gets diffed?
Little diff for the lads. Don't mind that. All right, Xe has sights. Probably activates that in just a moment. Supports on the Florida Mayhem in a little bit of trouble. Kilo's got a bit of sights, but they get to cover just in time. Nano boost for someone. No. Oh, I was going to say, he definitely had Bash, but there you go. Kilo wins the SMG to fight. Oh, Axe doesn't quite land, but Xe is back, making his mark on the Widowmaker as Proper dies.
Yeah, and I think that we saw someone just spend enough time keeping Shock busy that did allow for Xe to come back, and you can even see someone's like almost there already. Gonna have the Rampage as well. We're gonna really start to see ult fly as we trade sites first, And then we'll see what happens after that with the rampages and also... Transcendence already?
Yeah, what happened in the backline there? Kilo kills Checkmate with a body shot. Make that 2 with RuPaul dead. Exy, yeah, he knows exactly where he is. Oh, Proper's even chasing him down, to be frank. Goodbye. Florida Mayhem with a rampage starting off the fight. Don't end up coming out on top. The Transcendence from Somajed was forced. I don't know who it was that forced the Transcendence, but
maybe Proper.
Big turnaround in tempo.
Yeah, I kind of think it was Proper or Kaluj that was was really the person that pressured that out. And unfortunately, I think if you have Proper in your face, you're way more likely to suspect that the Dragon Blade is coming your way if you get squishy enough. So, yeah, you may want to just go ahead and pop the Transcendence, but unfortunately, Proper held onto the blade, so this is a pretty free feast here for Proper to slice and dice some things.
Oh, there he is. The DPS as his support, though, even Violet. Straight to the back line. They know it's coming, though, because they saw him on lower, but they're still willing to set up. Yeah, big problem now with Somajed not having that nano. Checkmate already being a nuisance to the San Francisco Shock, but they're still moving the payload, which is what is important. A mad split for Mayhem, and now the blade is being pulled. Somajed pops his little head out. Oh, they're in the skybox. Okay, they're finally back down to earth. He tried to chase Violet. Rampage hits Checkmate. He's just bleeding to death. He even had the orb on him, but it wasn't quite enough to keep him alive and well. Blade for Proper. Nice deflect. Double dash, double kill. Make that a third, maybe? Yes, there we go. Proper's blade not impeded by that Transcendence, which was forced in that last fight as the Shock moved the payload.
Yeah, that was an unfortunate blade there for Checkmate. Going after Violet as well is just so risky because you could actually see Violet booped Checkmate away up into the skybox. That's why he wasn't able to get through, and also Checkmate gets so low, running right into the disruptor shot of Kilo, and unfortunately that backup there from the Mayhem is going to secure San Francisco Shock that second point. They've got to take the high ground now, though. Florida Mayhem have to get set up first.
I wonder if the Mayhem end up switching after these ults, like switching the supports. I'm not entirely sure. It would make a lot of sense. I mean, you are going Brawl now. You might as well just go meta because you have the Sojourn, but you can still use the long sight lines when you are far back. If they do end up pushing it around the little bend here.
But yeah,
we'll see. After
that point, you definitely need the point presence of the Break and the Lucio to have a chance against the more Brawl comp of the Shock.
Uh-oh. I heard that commanding shout from a mile away. Yeah, so did RuPaul. He jumps all the way back. Somajed not scared, though. Will face his fear being Collusion on the Junker Queen. Double support ult still in the back pocket, and Mayhem. The car is slowly but surely moving around this final bend.
The overclock gets popped here. It's going to be the Nano first for Checkmate, though. Blade?
Little Nano.
Coming up.
Little disengage. Okay, Violet ends up falling over. Yeah, that's a good ult investment for the Mayhem. They do potentially just win this fight after just the Nano, and they still have the Transcendence. Oh, nice knife.
Oh, the dash right in there, too. Yeah, this is tough because now the Mayhem can really play aggro onto the stairwell, and we've definitely seen before how some teams can get stopped here in the old of Junkertown. Checkmate 2, you know, with the Nano, just being able to get him ever closer to the blade. Mayhem here are really looking to pressure Finn and Violet, and the rally's already going to come out first.
Yep, rally, overclock, rampage from someone, hits 3, but that overhealth looking good for the Shock. Proper set pretty low, but the support's here to the rescue. Still sitting on a support ultimate are the San Francisco Shock as a Transcendence comes out. Checkmate pulls the blade, but it looks like Collusion's knife a little bit bigger as he's too scared to go in. An hour rampage to finish it up. The Shock hit 3 of them. They get it around this final corner. Nice staggering of ultimates there from San Francisco.
That was beautifully done. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the rally to initiate, and then you also had the sound barrier preserved as a response to Checkmate's blade. It was really nicely done, and now Florida Mayhem are on their last legs. And they haven't switched off the supports either. It's still going to be the Ana and the Zenyatta to try to close this out in the final 40 seconds.
All right, Proper pretty low. There's a commanding shout. He has the blade, sees the targets, doesn't want to go in just yet. Checkmate's in the back line. He's got orb on him, or at least he did the last couple of seconds. Proper trying to get the dip, but no, Violet again. The support duo coming up big. SR gains through the roof right now. Sermaged in the back does kick Proper away, but Violet's there to help him clean up. Gets one reset, two, maybe a third. Exy pretty low. Finn chases him into the spawn as the San Francisco Shock complete Junkertown.
Wow, that Genji versus Genji, though, was something that just really stuck out to me. And I gotta talk about it a little bit more because Violet consistently coming up clutch, whether it's peppering in that extra bit of damage, or in that particular case, booping Checkmate away from getting the health pack.
Oh yeah, get in the Mega Pack, yeah.
That was huge. And that allowed Proper to just go in and clean up. Really well done.
Yeah, they really are a force to be reckoned with right now. What would you... Here's a question to the audience, actually. What would you do if Proper and Violet were duoing on the other team? How fast would you quit the game? Like,
Did you just take the SR
horrible lobby to drop
loss?
into. Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah, I mean, it's over, guys. Come on now.
Maybe.
Proper's on deeps, Violet on support. Yeah, it's not a lobby that you really want to play against. Let's be real with ourselves here. Let's see what Florida want to do on the offense, Rose, because they have shown a willingness right now to play the Ana, to play the Zen, and you can still do that on Junkertown on the offense. The Shock are just going to run with the same old. It's just replay.
Oh yeah.
Oh, this must be Kilo just killing people, as he does.
Yeah, look at that.
Right to the back.
Getting into the back of the team too. Quick finish up, I think, onto Sermaged, and then the Rampage to follow that up. Just so nice. This was the staggering of ults that we saw from the Shock that allowed them to capture that third point. We both called out was just really expertly done, and so love seeing that in slow motion to see how everything kind of interacted.
No way!
And
More
stop
teams
it!
practicing
No,
the
no, no,
Bastion.
no! Stop! Stop! Are you happy now?
No, there we go. Yeah, I'm pretty happy. Yeah, that's a couple of seconds for Exy on the Bastion.
It's like ready to write that down in my notes. That like Florida Mayhem on the attack, use the Bastion on Junkertown. Oh, shoot.
All right, it wasn't a headshot, but it was still as clean. Nice, good kill onto Kilo.
Feels good. And now, you know, Exy as well, being on the Widowmaker, we're just seeing the flavors of old from the Mayhem on their defense. Same with RuPaul and Sermaged, Ana and Zenyatta.
Oh no, Proper got the health by there to cancel the Venom. Mine. Oh, Kilo's back, and he's on Widow. Yep. Still got to be careful.
Can't peek your head out.
Very good patience there from Kilo. Did you see that? Just not shooting someone's head, just waiting for one of the squishier targets that he can insta-kill to pop out. He's got someone. Oh no. Who is here? It's the Genji.
Oh, so smart.
He's got the grapple in time though, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you got to do that, though, right? As the Widowmaker, you have to juggle not only like that patience of executing on those squishy targets, but also having the grapple online to get out of the way of the Genji. You know it's coming after you.
Proper just permanently with that Discord orb on him. Oh, hello, Sermaged. What's he doing there? Make a health back room. Oh, hello, Exy. It's like a jump scare game. Oh my god.
Where's the
Exy's there. There he is. He's over there. You turn the lights on. He's not there. You turn him off. He's there. RuPaul is very low, very injured. So is Checkmate. Should be a little bit of a clean sweep here. I say that as Exy's still killing people somehow, some way. Popping his head around the corner, killing Proper. But with Kilo coming back in just a moment. There he is.
Oh, you see it? I don't know if this is a duel that Exy wants to take right now, knowing that the rest of the team isn't there to provide that backup. And despite Exy getting these picks, like Kilo's still keeping pace with the sights, and also Florida still haven't captured this first point yet.
Oh, there's a blade happening. And there's another fight happening. A little 1v1. Oh, Proper double melee kill. Checkmate pulled the blade, did get a couple. And the Florida Mayhem, worth keeping an eye on the time bank right here, right now. This is only a minute and 30 seconds to go. Violet tried to clean up Checkmate, but wasn't to be. Did kill someone, so again, stalling for time with the San Francisco Shock. And with an ult bank like this, you are super happy.
And with the way that they just rotated through on that third point of their attack push, I'm expecting that they'll be able to use these really nicely here. Of course, we're going to see the sights versus the sights, and now the follow-up, though, of these rampages to just kick off the fight. The rally as well from Finn. Nice engagement tool.
Oh, Yeah.
Gotta use the rally now.
I mean, Exy, just a double quick headshot, no worries. Did shoot the deflect onto Proper, but now Proper's pulled the blade. Can Exy pull the trigger? He's got him in his sights. A body shot and a quick reset dash there from Proper to get out of Exy's sightlines. There's 45 seconds to go as the Florida Mayhem make the San Francisco Shock use 4 of their ultimas, but they don't have many to spare either.
No, they have the Rampage and they've got the Transcendence, and the Transcendence at this point really is just going to be used as an aggressive tool to secure this first objective if the Rampage goes horribly wrong. And with the way that Shock have all these heroes very spread out, Kilo's way at the back, Kilo's gone now, okay, maybe this is go time.
Transcendence and a beat already utilized by both teams, but RuPaul is already dead. Now Exy's in trouble, taking the 1v1 versus Proper, and he wins it. Both DPS have been killed by Exy, but a pop-off of ridiculous proportions is required right now from the Florida Mayhem. Someone is pretty low as RuPaul is just making his way back to the fight slowly but surely. Now in LOS, the rest of his team is going to be able to heal up Florida before they end up getting taken down. Kalush falls as the ping gets sent out to notify the rest of Mayhem of Kilo's position. They should be able to get the point. There it is. Okay. Florida Mayhem aren't out of this just yet.
Nope, having those doors unlocked is a very, very good feeling, knowing that they had to do it in overtime. They still get that 2.5 minutes added to the time bank, but that's going to start to quickly expire when you see just how Shock are going to play around the positioning of the map. They get 2 attempts here. They're going to go up to the high ground now to try to get that first attempt in. And because he also, Kilo, going to go back over to the Sojourn. And we saw this, of course, on their attack push, knowing that the sightlines for the Widowmaker are a little harder to come by now on the second point.
Sermajed is alone too in the mega health pack, and yeah, Proper spotted him. Oh, what a headshot from Exy! Dear Lord! Blade, triple, oh, he looked away! Oh, Kilo might kill him, he does! Oh no, Checkmate thought he had that kill. Oh, the surprise on his face, he thought he had that too. Double kill with the blade's gonna be good enough, and Exy's still managing to find value on this Widowmaker.
Yeah, oh, the deflect though. Okay, gotta be careful. That feels pretty good though, getting these shots in.
Don't test him, Violet! What? They have sights!
That was just not smart. I don't know if Violet knew what was happening, but now there's no Lucio to speed you into the pre-contest.
Yeah, I mean, they've got Finn, I suppose, with 20% towards Rally, but they're not even going to contest. Exy kills Kilo. Another entry kill for the Widowmaker.
Jeez.
I think San Francisco Shock are kind of happy with this. They want to hold close, stop Exy getting these sight lines. Someone in Checkmate come up with the kills this time instead.
He gets away! Oh my gosh, the not confirming that kill just feels so bad when Exy was so low. They gotta shut him down though, Jaws. You can't keep getting away with this.
I think everybody wondered if he was going to switch over to Sojourn, and if you're on a hot streak like this, you stay as Widow.
Yeah, you don't switch.
Lapping some serious cheeks right now.
Oh my gosh. I mean, Florida wishes they had a little bit more to sustain themselves into this next fight. At least you have the Nano to maybe get the Blade. But Exy,
How does he keep killing? All right, RuPaul's traded. Luckily enough. The other one-shot character has arrived. Robert's got Blade, I suppose, but the Florida Mayhem, they know they have to play a little bit safer. They've only got Sermajed healing. They're still getting mad progress on the payload. A lot of ults. This is going to be everybody's just going to hit Q in this fight. Yeah. And an outcome is going to be maybe not that decisive. I'm not sure. I can't tell you what's going to happen, but Violet's little beatsies are getting shot.
Yeah, Violet's going to have to go up onto the high ground just to get away from the Widowmaker. Stay away.
Okay. A lot of Qs are being pressed. A lot of kills may be coming in. Rally from Finn is going to make it harder for Mayhem to find kills, but now the Mayhem using that Transcendence. A little bit late as Kilo falls, and here's the Rampage from Kalush. It does hit someone, and someone ticks Kalush. Okay, a little bit of a trade, you like to see it, but Checkmate's the one that's cleaning up the Florida Mayhem with a couple more meters to go. Might be able to sink this one in. Good sights from Exy, and Checkmate's even still got the Blade.
Checkmate's at the door as well, just to wait for somebody to come out and peek their head. Kalush is back out on the Doomfist.
The Doomfist, yeah, I mean, he gets naded, and there's the Blade of the spawn doors. The beat is good from Violet, and Kilo finds 2! RuPaul and Exy, a double kill, maybe a collab. We'll have to check the replays at San Francisco Shock are holding the point. There's 19 seconds to go, and it's only Surmash yet alive. They need to switch to Lucio or some sort of fast character now to touch the payload.
I think I'm gonna have to look at RuPaul's also gonna switch over to the Brig and really hoping that Surmash is gonna get the Lucio back up in time to get the speed boost, but X is gonna have to go in and touch as the Tracer.
Yeah. Okay. XE touches, triggers OT, but the comp not quite perfect as someone had to jump over to the Wrecking Ball. We've seen it done once before, but can he make it again? I'm not sure because Kilo is just unhindered. Look, he's free firing on the front line. Another recall from XE, so he has to play a little bit safe. His health bar goes pretty low, but getting a health pack is going to top him all the way up. Collusion checkmate dead. A 4-on-4 on the point as Finn building up towards that coalescence. Another trade, now just a 3-on-3, but the Spawns are way in advantage of the San Francisco Shock right now. Surmash keeping someone alive as he kills Kilo. The Mayhem are going to be able to do it. Finn not able to earn that coalescence quickly enough. The Wrecking Ball doing its job apparently. Kalush on the Doomfist manages to touch once more as Finn respawns in just a couple of seconds, but OT spawns are so slow. The Mayhem complete, not with time, but just anything at this point is required to stay in this series.
Wow. Oh my gosh. Wow. Like, usually you get into a situation like that and the quick swaps, like panic, just, it's pandemonium, right? But that worked, and now Mayhem get another attempt. There's 14 seconds separating the two teams and their time banks. Oh my gosh, the Wrecking Ball though. Okay, someone like Jace. That was
I've got to get a replay of that potential double.
Yeah, I was looking at that too.
overclock.
I hope we get a slow-mo.
I think it was a collab. I mean, we'll get it in the replay package, I'm sure. But yeah, Florida Mayhem with only a minute to go. Do they run the same thing on attack? Do they play the Zen and the Ana? Think of how much time it took them to actually cap. It's going to be an upward tilt battle.
But they have looked the best on the Ana and the Zenyatta though. But here we go. Here we go. Okay.
Oh, the little boop onto Violet. Oh my. How much CC? How many boops onto Violet was that? At least 10. The flight. Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
RuPaul just bullying.
RuPaul had a great moment in that final fight. Like that was standout, and the Inspire healing is really what kept someone alive. Someone got so low multiple times on the Wrecking Ball, and Shock just couldn't get the pick because of how well RuPaul was keeping him alive. But yeah, it looks like Florida Mayhem aren't going to go with that Zenyatta Ana, despite the fact they've looked really good on it. Jaws, I think you called it perfectly, that it just doesn't provide enough point presence that they'll need to be able to deal with the Shock's comp.
30 seconds remaining.
Next, he's going to look for a pick. Misses one, hits the body of Violet. Now the commanding shout from the Shock, just to tease the corner push. But yeah, that point presence is going to be super important. XE needs an angle. Like, he's going to have to go on the outside of the map here to get a sight line on the San Francisco Shock, but Kilo's already looking that way. He's got also a fairly decent sight line with the railgun. XE's already dead. The push on the Shock's good. 1 DPS down for the Mayhem, and they still need to touch. Someone is focused and killed, and the Florida Mayhem, their final stand is here. The San Francisco Shock do not want to go to any more maps. The Mayhem have to battle with 1 minute and 14 seconds. Their point A defense last time around was pretty clean.
Yeah.
It's whether they can actually replicate that now to start this reverse sweep.
Well, if they're going to rely on that Widowmaker instead of the Sojourn, and then also looking at maybe the Ana, the Zenyatta as well, then you're really relying on getting massive picks before the Shock make it to the point. But we'll find out in 10 seconds what they decide to run out of these defensive spawn doors with. It's gonna be a tough one. But there it is.
If you've played, if you've been practicing that, I think you just kind of stick with it. You know, you don't want to go to something a little bit more different. Well, I say different, obviously. Everybody's running the BAP and the, not the BAP, sorry, the Brig and the Lucio, but if you practice it, you might as well stick to it. You don't want anything crazy. You know, this is the map to keep you in the series. My God, Shock's record. Could be 14-0 after this.
Still history,
Mayhem
however we look at it.
Yeah, I mean, you're looking at some crazy history being made. I mean, it just continual history, at least. I mean, the San Francisco Shock could maybe break the regular season win streak record this season. We'll have to wait and see. All right, Kilo just going for a peek on the Widowmaker. I would like to see him stick on the Widow, but
I think he has to.
He's gonna, yeah. He has to somehow match Exy.
60 seconds.
The Widow's the best shot. You know, Kilo's super good at it. He's been able to get that win in that Widowmaker 1v1. And you have to have that in order to make sure that Exy doesn't have free sightlines on you. But that card is quickly approaching. Oh, yeah. Oh, my gosh.
Violet and Proper already. They're
just rotating around.
Up on the high ground to force Exy off. Yeah. They've been checked, but look at the way the Florida Mayhem have to position now. They have to clump up near the payload, and that puts Kilo in a good position where he can maybe snipe someone out. Machette's already dead, and on the back line, it's shambles. Kilo kills Exy, Exy killed Proper, but it doesn't matter. The San Francisco Shock continue their conquering of the Overwatch League, 14-0.
Absolutely ridiculous. As soon as the backline of the Florida Mayhem fell, that was it. And what fantastic strategic positioning, Jaws. You set that up perfectly. Violet as well, just kind of making this duo of Violet and Proper work. Violet and Kilo, whoever it ends up being that Violet's taxiing around. It's been stellar from them and just so cool to see. Definitely history once again here for the Shock.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's not the history that the Florida Mayhem wanted to write. They wanted to dethrone the San Francisco Shock, but not today. A nice 3-0 series. And, you know, the duo was pretty good. The Proper Violet duo. Player of the match is going to be Violet for this series. I mean, him and Proper, unbelievable stuff. There are a lot of final blows, and Lucio roll sometimes gets overlooked, but Violet pumping in a lot of damage. I remember on the first map that we had, especially on Ruins, the amount of final blows this guy was getting is a little bit ridiculous.
Yeah, absolutely ridiculous. And I like that, you know, Shock, as much as we tout this meta being one that you really need to stick together, Shock still have their individual team style, and one that I think Violet slots perfectly into with this Lucio, just really helping to bolster up Proper, getting those Genji picks. And so we love to give credit where credit is due, and Violet certainly deserves that credit today.
Yeah, there you go. 5 final blows per 10 as a Lucio player. Feels pretty good to be an aggro Lucio, and 16 offensive assists. Yeah, nice work from Violet and Proper. Yeah, like I said, there's nothing more scary than having well, to be fair, any of the Overwatch League players in your ranked games, but like if you see Proper and Violet doing, you know to be a little bit extra scared, especially after that series. I mean, props to the Mayhem though, they are still looking pretty good. And
it's close.
I have a lot of hope for them coming into the Summer Showdown qualifiers, but the San Francisco Shock still steamrolling through the regular season. Who's going to stop them? I don't know.
Maybe next week.
Maybe someone. Someday. Yeah, maybe next week. Yeah, everybody's counting down the time, right? We're going to jump to a quick break. We still got 2 more bangers coming up after this. We'll see you soon.
Welcome to Game Break, everybody. I'm here joined by Violet. He is also the player of the match today, so congratulations, Violet, on being the player of the match. And of course, getting the W against the Florida Mayhem. Now, I'm just going to start off with, 3-0 victory, clean win for the San Francisco Shock. How'd you guys get it done? 자, 일단 오늘 승리 축하드리고 거기다 또 오늘 POTM까지 먹은 것도 축하드리면서 오늘 3대0으로 굉장히 좋은 모습을 보여준 것 같습니다. 네, 오늘 어떻게 해서 승리를 거두시게 되셨나요?
저희가 솔직히 이번 메타에 대해서 좀 걱정이 있었던 게 일단 제가 원래 하지 않았던 루슈를 계속 해야 되는 거랑 그리고 이제 핀 선수가 브리테를 많이 안 했었던 플레이어라서 그게 좀 걱정이었는데 그래도 계속 연습을 하면서 좀 적응해 나간 것 같아서 이겼던 것 같습니다.
All right, so going into today's match, I think what I was really worried about for the current meta was the fact that I had to play Lucio, something that I'm not really, I haven't spent a lot of time in, and also not only me but my other counterpart Finn, who had to be on that brig role, and that's something that he didn't have a lot of time on. So that was what worried us, but we throughout a lot of practice, I think we got better, and I think it really showed in our matches in the Overwatch League. All right, so talking about today's match, I actually had a quick question for you. I feel like although you guys did win 3-0 against the Florida Mayhem, I think Florida Mayhem did put up a good fight, and they had some interesting composition today. They used the 2 flex support Ana Zen composition. So I want to get your thoughts on that, and do you feel like that sort of, cause you a little bit of trouble at all for today's match? 자, 일단 그리고 이제 두 번째 질문으로 넘어가도록 하겠습니다, 바이올렛 선수. 일단 오늘 3대0으로 이기기는 했지만 저희 또 플로리다가 굉장히 좀 잘 싸워준 것 같기도 했고 또 되게 좀 재밌는 투서빌 아나 젠 이제 그런 조합으로 오늘 센쇼과의 경기를 펼쳤는데 그거에 대한 바이올렛 선수에 대한 좀 생각을 듣고 싶습니다. 어떻게 좀 그것 때문에 조금 더 애를 먹었다고 생각을 하시나요, 오늘 경기에서?
네. 아나젠 쓰는 팀이 그렇게 많지 않은데 저 조합의 장점이 이제 맵이 긴 맵에서 되게 가까이 다가가기가 힘드니까 루슈 브리로 그래서 좋다고 생각을 하거든요. 근데 그것도 이제 파이법을 잘 찾으면은 할만하다 생각해서 저희가 이제 경기 도중에도 그렇고 시작 전에도 그렇고 그거에 대한 파이법을 좀 준비를 해놔가지고 쉽게 이겼던 것 같습니다.
All right, so the good thing about the Ana Zen 2 flex support competition that Florida Mayhem use is that they are really good for longer maps, and you know, with that, it's if you're playing the Lucio Brig competition, it's really hard to close in that distance. But thankfully, even before the match and even throughout the match, we had our own ways and our own solutions to close that distance and sort of to counter those kind of compositions. So I think that came in clutch for us. All right, Violet, that is it for the questions. Thank you so much for your time, and again, big congratulations
감사합니다.
on the win. 자, 오늘
Thank
승리
you.
너무 축하드리면서 네, 감사합니다.
Thank you.
The San Francisco Shock improved to 14-0 in the 2022 regular season.
That's wild.
Just 5 more until.
Yeah, they're gunning for that regular season
Yeah.
win record by the Vancouver Titans.
Their ultimate
Legendary
rivals.
franchise.
3 years later, they're trying to take down the Vancouver Titans still to this day.
Yeah, and they keep doing it in a sustained manner as well, as we have Brig and Lucio being played in this match as well. We did see some double flex support from the Florida Mayhem. Interesting to see teams sort of changing up the pace a little bit, even if it's just on Junkertown because of those sidelines that Violet just mentioned, of course. But going back to the meta a little bit, we've had 2 3-0s now here today. After the start of the week, where it was a lot of reverse sweeps, a lot of map 5, some inconsistent results, is this just a sign that like a team like the San Francisco Shock, they are just clearly superior to the Florida Mayhem with a great understanding of this meta?
I think we're going to see a lot more of this, if I'm honest. I think you were talking about this.
Yeah, we were talking about it while it was happening, yeah.
That when we had like the GOATS meta, right? When you had a good team, or like one of the better teams against like even a mediocre team, like they were blowouts those games. I think in a similar meta like this, I think you're going to see these types of results, right? Where like one team is like an upper echelon team, and one team, you know, Florida, right? Like there were a lot of times like on Junkertown it was really close, like, but you can see there's like a level between them two teams where I think you're going to start to see a lot of like blowouts where if you don't grasp it and the other team has like a pretty good idea of it, even in some metas, you can still keep it close and competitive. I think this one's going to be one where you see lots of one-sided results.
Yeah, because it's a different skill set, right? Compared to the metas we've had earlier this year.
And it's more moving away from individual pop-off moments when you have these metas like the dive we saw in the past where you have those traces and all those kind of things. That individual pop-off can sort of bridge that gap between the skill difference between teams as a whole. If one individual player plays really well, it can get you across the edge. When you have a very team-orientated, cooldown, ultimate usage meta like the one we're in right now, all of a sudden it makes the gap smaller, but the differences create bigger match differentials. So that's why you're going to see so many 3-0s. The Florida Mayhem, I don't think, are that far behind the San Francisco Shock, but those slight differences just lead and accumulate in a map and just give the San Francisco Shock an edge. Exy tried his best on the Widowmaker here on this Junkertown to sort of catch up, but then when you have proper Kilo and the entire San Francisco Shock working much better individually, but as a whole team, I think it just sort of created that difference.
The Exy thing here is a perfect example how that individual skill is not going to kind of carry over, right? He was owning there on Junkertown. I mean, he was popping off in the Widow. And, like, obviously the game is close, but they don't get a win on it, where, you know, in some other metas, playing like that on the Widow on a map like that is good enough.
Yeah.
So the San Francisco Shock, they start week 1 going 2-0. Meanwhile, the LA Gladiators 0-2. Danny, is it fair to say that the Shock are the best team in the league right now? Obviously, APAC haven't played.
That was a hard question you just threw today.
Yeah. You give me and Scott some softballs.
Yeah.
Sure. Oh, yeah. You think else are going to happen, Danny?
Sure.
Yeah, here, let's put Danny on the hot seat.
In the regular season, they are.
Oh, they're just the best team in the regular season?
Regular season. Because playoffs, in tournaments, they haven't won.
Okay,
yet.
but they're not like the favorite to win the Summer Showdown yet. Would you phrase it like that?
They've always been the favorites, but they just...
Shock?
Yeah, but they just haven't won the tournament, no? Isn't it?
Johnny asked you a trick question. I agree with you, Johnny. Danny. I think that the Shock are always one of the favorites heading into these tournaments, but would I say they're the favorites right now? It's way too early to tell, especially with the meta evolving.
I'm trying to make TV.
I know. Okay, sorry. Yeah, San Francisco Shock, they've won the championship. Yeah, they're the favorite. Everyone else go home.
Wrap it up.
Yeah. Let's go proper, yeah.
I think this Vancouver will win Summer Showdown.
Hey, look, you know, the next match coming out in New York, Dallas, I'm a little bit worried about my Vancouver guarantee. if New York comes in here and plays good.
Yeah, they reverse swept the Houston Outlaws, New York Excelsior.
That guarantee may be looking kind of slow.
He's already backing up of this guarantee. He's already adding apologies.
One segment at a time.
Western Canada, I am with you. I don't know
going
if you're
into
going to be.
today, I don't think you could put Vancouver on a map.
I could. Yeah. It's like it's up there.
For our next match, we have the New York Excelsior taking on the Dallas Fuel, like Matt just mentioned. And well, New York Excelsior 2-11, but they got that win against the Houston Outlaws, and they showed some real good moments. Of course, Yaki has been a standout player for them all season long, despite not getting these wins, and now you find yourself in a hit scan and Genji kind of meta. Is this perfectly what suits the New York Excelsior, Costa?
Yeah, well, I think that they've really struggled to synergize as a dive, as a unit, but when you can have all these players on their individually best heroes, Yaki's Genji has always been phenomenal. We have Flores able to feel comfortable on this hit scan. Kellen's playing a new hero, doesn't really feel like he's being forced out of his comfort, and they finally signed a main support. You put all those things together, and all of a sudden, the claim that the talent is there and they should be better actually has some merit to it. You know, they're 2-11, but we were just talking about the Vancouver Titans of, if you get 4 or 5 wins on the board, all of a sudden you're in the play-ins and anything can happen. New York Excelsior are right there as well.
Not even 4 or 5 wins. If you're either of these teams and you qualify for the Summer Showdown and you're playing at like a high level and get like league points,
guys, you're not got 1 win.
No, we're running with it again, Johnny. We're going.
You're not that far behind like Boston and Washington. Like real talk. You're not that far away. It's doable.
No, that's true.
It's doable. Johnny, if you were a coach of a team, would you just be like, oh yeah, 2-11, I guess we're out.
It's just time to wrap it up, boys. We had a good season.
It's just like, guys, if we beat the Dallas Fuel, get 3 more wins.
It's fair. That's fair.
It's gonna be close because I've heard from Scrimbox.
The Scrimbox Exchange?
Yeah, Exchange that New York.
Scrimbox Exchange?
The New York.
Well, New York beat Houston, and Houston beat Gladiators.
So
Once again, transitive properties. I'm just keep running with it. I'm just going to keep.
But
they do
Dallas
look better.
also beat
They
Gladiators
look good in this meta, but so does Dallas, with that said.
Well, Kellen is good, right? I mean, he was like one of the players you're excited for.
Matt could go all day talking about New York Excelsior and how their players are great and the talent is there.
Blue team's going to win.
Let's just get over to the action instead. Let's just send it over to our casters. For this one, it's going to be Jennifer and Harry.
Oh my god!
She hates that.
I hate it! I'm already starting with a cringe. I was just thinking, I wonder what cute nicknames we're gonna get, because the other duo got Rose and Jack, Titanic, and the only thing I could think of is that both our last names start with P, so we're just PP. But it's at least slightly better than whatever he just said, Jennifer. Ugh. Horrible.
Oh, it's like your mum's disappointed with you. But both of these teams have not been disappointing for fans, Lemon. This has been a pretty impressive start so far for Dallas Fuel, who came out of a very middling mid-season mid-season madness, and to New York Excelsior, who've had a pretty disappointing season so far. But the victories over some of their largest opponents in LA Gladiators for Dallas Fuel and the Houston Outlaws and New York Excelsior has made both of these teams look like they're pretty good at this meta.
Oh yeah, blue stocks are on the rise for New York and both Dallas Fuel, who have started off 1-0 this season. Let's take a look at the starting lineup for the New York Excelsior, which the desk has already started to highlight. Yaki's prowess. He's always been kind of like that one player that messes up your pick'ems, because this is the guy that kind of buys you that free map win. Although not a series win, but a map here and there, especially on Control back in this Tracer meta. But I want to talk about Flora especially. He's been stepping up as that captain, ever since Sabiobi took his depart. Feels like Flora has been growing into this role and growing as a pretty amazing hit scan player. And this is kind of a conversation to have amongst a lot of the hit scans this meta about which one do you prefer, Sojourn or Ashe. And looking at Flora's, at least the match that they did have against the Houston Outlaws, he was doing a lot more Ashe and just only doing Sojourn on Control.
Yeah, the talent is there, and the Talon is here too. Ansoonjae, the newest pickup coming over from Talon Esports, who got second in Contenders Korea, who are playing on this patch with the Contenders A-sides having the Junker Queen meta in full swing. Ansoonjae has been able to kind of meld strategies of a New York Excelsior and have some provably good points, considering that he's already played in this competition more than any other pro, as far as I can tell thus far. Maybe Lep and Do just similar with how they played in North American Contenders at the same time. Let's have a look at Dallas's starters, though, because they're maintaining the motif that seems to be working for them. Sparkle's on the bench for now, and his little twin, Doha, has come on out to play the Genji, and to a degree, maybe you could ascribe this to a difference in playstyle. Sparkle's incredibly flashy. He can go for the hero plays, and just like Yaki, he can just buy you a map from just a Sparkle moment. But Doha, on the other hand, I think Doha seems to be a little bit better at just playing reserved and waiting for the team to set up a kill for him rather than claiming it for himself, but always reliably being able to find that final blow.
I've just been so excited for maybe the tournament for Edison, because it feels like he's always been quiet and just in the shadow of Gurrio, who's the rookie, has been built up to be like the Sojourn, the hit scan for Dallas Fuel. As Edison has made more appearances on maybe like what, Cassidy or Reaper, but now he's growing in. Edison is growing into the Sojourn player, and if you watched the Dallas Fuel series against the Gladiators, I'm pretty sure Edison got player of the match, or at least is the #1 candidate for it, because he was popping off, and I think he was a large reason why Dallas Fuel denied the reverse sweep against the Gladiators.
Yeah, Edison was a massive upgrade, considering that everyone was worried coming into this meta. Oh, you need to have a good Sojourn. Dallas don't have a good Sojourn. Like, well, Hastro said, no, we've had one all this time. We just needed some, just needed a couple rounds in the boxing ring. It's like Rocky, he doesn't get going until the later rounds, you know? Let's head over to our first map. Lemon's going to be Lijiang Tower, which means that there is some room for experimentation. We've seen some teams bring out wacky things like a Junkrat occasionally on a control center. But I don't know if anyone's really on the Rhinosaurus today. No one's grabbing the J-Krat via osmosis. Dallas Fuel and Newark Excelsior, I'd bet that both of these guys are confident and happy in the results they've received thus far in this meta and don't feel too much onus to swap it up.
Hey, that Reiner sauce was onto something, okay? He absorbed some of that Jake knowledge.
That was good sauce.
Well, speaking of just Dallas Fuel sauce in general, they've actually stuck to the meta, and maybe some creativity being used where Doha actually played May on Oasis Gardens, so if we see anything weird there, it might happen on Control Center. But when it comes to the Ashe versus Sojourn, we spoke about how Florida's a lot more Sojourn, but when it comes to Dallas Fuel, they actually prefer also a lot of Sojourn themselves. So it will be Flora versus Edison, but right now it's the clash in the server side, and Doha has returned on the May, and this slow is hurting Kellen so much. He makes it so every move he makes is gonna be punished, and Hanbin gets a 3K, and that was a fantastic May wall by Doha.
Wow, we need to examine why Doha used that wall so early when it wasn't going to get an isolation. It was all about just ferrying Newark Excelsior down into an alternate route, because Doha didn't want them to be discouraged from attacking. He wants them to think, oh, Doha's used this wall, we need to go now, because you get cleave with that cryo beam. You're doing 100 DPS and a 50% slow to everyone who's in the way, and that means that Doha can get a lot of ult charge, a lot of damage, and Hanbin can clean up, as he continues to do.
Hanbin is crazy. I mean, he's already at 50% on Rampage, which is such a slope, probably the slowest building ultimate when it comes to this composition, and just being able to win that first fight and playing off Maywall is huge for Fuel.
Yeah, but now comes the problem for New York Excelsior. They've got to go through small doors in order to actually access Dallas Fuel for a fight or the point. And each of these small doors is a playground for Doha to try and play. And also Doha can basically poke for free. Only has to worry about a fully charged rail headshot to kill him.
And that's the speed from New York, but they just went in way too deep. The burst of Edison, too, just overwhelmed Kellen, and anyone who escapes just gets Maywalled off from Doha. So this has been 2 consecutive fights. That boop from Chio. They're almost touching the spawn ring doors. I love this new version of Fuel.